Some days, you wake up to sunshine, coffee, and the sound of birds. Other days, you wake up to an entitled woman trying to strong-arm her way into your private backyard oasis with backup. And not just any backup. This one wore a badge. But let's start where all good chaos begins, with peace. I had spent years working as a defense lawyer, drowning in depositions and endless nights in court. When I finally made partner at the firm, I gifted myself something I'd dreamt of for years. A private pool tucked behind a beautifully landscaped backyard, complete with a waterfall, privacy shrubs, and subtle outdoor lighting. This wasn't just a pool. It was therapy, solitude, sanity. For a while, life was good. I'd come home late, loosen the tie, and sink into the cool water like stress was something that only happened to other people. On weekends, I grilled, floated, read under the pergola, and remembered what peace felt like. Then Karen moved in. She and her husband, Officer Ted, a local cop with a permanent scowl, bought the house 2 doors down. I tried to be neighborly, dropped off a welcome basket, smiled during trash day, nodded during walks. But Karen had that look. You know the one. Chin high, lips thin, eyes scanning like a security drone. It didn't take long for the comments to start. "I see you have a pool," she said one afternoon, hands on hips, eyes squinting over the fence like I'd installed an arms cache. "Yep, just finished the landscaping last month," I replied with a polite nod. MMM. Shame that a neighborhood like this doesn't have a community pool. That was her first hint. I shrugged it off, but within days, I noticed her peering through the slats in my fence while I swam. Once, she even sent her kid to knock on my door while I was in the pool to ask if he could just splash a little too. I gently explained it was a private pool and not open to guests. The kid was sweet. Karen, not so much. That weekend, I returned from a grocery run to find Karen lounging. Yes, lounging. In one of my chairs, sunglasses on, iced tea in hand, like this was a spa retreat she booked. "What are you doing?" I asked, trying not to draw my bags. "Oh, I thought you were out of town. Your gate was open." "It's locked," I replied. She smiled. "Not if you wiggle it just right." My eye twitched. I asked her to leave. She rolled her eyes, but complied. That should have been the end. But for Karen, it was only the beginning. Over the next 2 weeks, she tried everything. From guilt-tripping me with the kids just want a summer to remember, to suggesting a neighborhood pool pass system, to outright claiming the HOA had rights to my pool during non-private hours. I checked. There was no such clause. This was a single-family residence. No shared amenities. Just Karen's fantasies. Then came the escalation. One Wednesday evening, as I fired up the grill, there was a knock. Standing there in full uniform was Officer Ted, Karen's husband. Sunglasses on, arms crossed, duty belt in full view. "Evening," he said. "We've received reports of noise. Splashing. Music." I blinked. "It's a pool. Just doing a courtesy check. You got permits for this setup?" "Absolutely," I said, handing him a folder. He barely glanced at it. Then came the real reason. Karen mentioned she offered a fair compromise and you refused. I stared. You're on duty, using your badge to negotiate a private pool access issue? He cleared his throat, just suggesting maybe Sharon would keep things peaceful. That was it. I shut the gate in his face, politely but firmly. The next morning, a folded note was taped to my door. You will regret being selfish. Some people need a lesson in community values. Oh, I was being taught a lesson, all right, but not the one they thought. By now, I'd installed cameras, hidden, cloud-backed, motion-sensitive. I wasn't paranoid. I was prepared, and it paid off. That weekend, Karen tried to sneak in again, this time with her niece and a few neighborhood kids. They climbed the fence. It was early, around 7 a.m. I was watching from the upstairs office. I let them get halfway across the yard, then hit the intercom. Smile. You're on camera, and this footage is being uploaded right now. Karen screeched and hustled the kids out like a roach scattering under light. Later that afternoon, she returned with Ted, who tried the same intimidation routine. This time, I called his supervisor. I emailed the footage, cited the trespassing laws, and mentioned the ethics complaint I was prepared to file with the precinct. Officer Ted was placed on leave within 48 hours, pending investigation. Karen? She exploded. She began a campaign of character assassination. Flyers in mailboxes claiming I was anti-community. Online posts accusing me of installing cameras to spy on children. Again, my own private yard. And even a fake petition to turn my pool into a public amenity. But none of it stuck. The neighbors, to their credit, weren't idiots. One even returned the flyer with Karen, "Stop embarrassing yourself," scrawled in red ink. Still, she persisted. One morning, I woke to find red paint poured across my lawn, spelling share. A day later, I found a soggy stuffed animal floating in my pool with a note. This could have been avoided. That was it. I filed for a restraining order. The footage, notes, paint, and trespassing were more than enough. Court date was set. Karen didn't even try to deny it. Instead, she claimed I invited the conflict by flaunting wealth. The judge? Not amused. Temporary restraining order granted. Officer Ted's employment? Terminated after internal review. Karen was banned from coming within 100 feet of my property, which made her next move downright insane. 2 weeks later, while I was at a work retreat, she broke into the yard again, this time with bolt cutters, and hosted a pool party for 5 neighborhood families. Champagne, music, even a catered snack bar. She didn't know I'd installed remote monitoring. My phone buzzed mid-meeting. I called the police. Real police. Not her ex-husband. She was arrested. Trespassing, destruction of private property, violating a court order. And you know the best part? Every single guest she invited turned on her. Claimed they thought she had permission. Some even left mid-party once they realized the truth. One neighbor, Steve, came to my door the next day with homemade cookies and an apology. "I just thought she had access," he said. "She said you were friends." I nodded. "Well, Steve," she was wrong. And just like that, peace returned. Karen sold her house within a month. Rumor was her name had become poison in every HOA meeting. No one wanted to be associated with the woman who got arrested for a pool party invasion. Me? I upgraded the fence, added a gate code, and returned to my floats and books. Because sometimes the best way to deal with entitled people is to let them drown in the mess they made. Figuratively, of course. Though I will say, watching Karen get hauled out of my backyard in cuffs was the best poolside entertainment I'd ever seen.